Hello and welcome to Grand Prix Toronto. I'm Randy Buehler, joined by Jacob Van Lunen. We are going to watch the reigning Rookie of the Year, Ray Perez, playing a Naya take on the Metamorph archetype, playing against Seth Manfield, who's been just red hot all year and has the quite popular Esper Dragons deck. What do you think of this matchup, Jake?
I'm not sure. I'm not very familiar with the Naya Megamorph deck. I feel like it's a strange entity. I think.
Okay, so the Megamorph part we've seen a lot of: Den Protector, Deathmist Raptor. The Naya part means he's got Fleece Mane and Lightning Strike, basically. Oh wow, a lot of Planeswalkers: Elspeth, Xenagos, and Sarkhan.
Yeah, I think his deck is very well suited to play this control matchup. He's got tons of Planeswalkers. He has ways to ramp into them. If he can successfully navigate his way around the key counterspells in Seth's deck, then this shouldn't be too difficult of a match for him. I mean, Seth only has 4 copies of Hero's Downfall in his deck.
And there's 8 Planeswalkers in Ray's deck.
Yeah. And each of those are going to get an activation before Seth even has an opportunity to use those downfalls. So.
Wow, that does sound really well positioned.
Mm-hmm. Planes.
Yeah, so Ray Perez got a couple of Elvish Mystics too. And was on the play, so, the Bile Blight from Seth Manfield. 2 for 1, and crucially, this means that he blunts the attack from Ray Perez. Slows him down dramatically. I mean, it's a 2 for 1, and it puts Seth back almost like he was on the play, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, getting 2 Elvish Mystics off a single Bile Blight is always a blowout. It's one of the big detractors from playing these Ram spells in the current standard. We have all these powerful 4 and 5 drops, and you would think that a card like Elvish Mystic would just be a 4-up in so many decks, but you just have the ability to get punished by Bile Blights out of people's main decks, and when your draw is multiple elves, it's way too enticing to play more than one at once.
Yeah, Seth is having a great year. Seth is highly ranked at this point in the season. Oh,
this is dangerous.
Xenagos.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that was able to resolve is...
It makes a guy immediately attacks. This Grand Prix, I sent out a tweet yesterday about how there's the Hero's Downfall from Seth Manfield. How this Grand Prix was an opportunity for Owen or Ari to make a move up the North American standings, to maybe try to get that U.S. captaincy away from, right now it's Eric Froelich, but Sam Black is in second. Seth Manfield's only 1 point behind Owen. Like, Seth Manfield 5th in North America, but he's also, I think 7th in Player of the Year, 6th or 7th.
And he's been running red hot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he, really started to move up in those rankings. Here's somebody who just, time after time they're putting up these numbers. And, yesterday in round 8, I heard Chris Fennell joking, and he was saying, Seth Manfield 7-0. I don't think anybody's ever beaten him in the first 8 rounds of a Grand Prix. So
clearly he's never been paired against Brad Nelson.
Yes.
Brad Nelson now 10-0.
In other news, fire is hot.
Ice is cold.
So Ray doesn't find a land immediately with that Courser, so he's not going to start generating card advantage right away, but Seth's going to want to get that off the table. I mean, Seth's overall game plan is to outcard a Naya opponent. I don't think he understands the matchup perfectly yet, because he probably doesn't have, full information about the content of Ray's deck.
Yeah, I mean, he's seen the colors at this point. He's seen Mystic into Xenagos.
At this point, though, he may just think he's playing against, a deck with Atarkas and Mastery of the Unseens. He may not understand that it's,
Sure.
a Planeswalker brew that
Fair.
Ray is piloting here.
And now, Ray, we talked about he is the reigning Rookie of the Year. Came up a few points short of gold last year. At this point, he is qualified for Vancouver, but he's not yet clinched silver for the year, which I think is his goal. I know you were telling me he's also, and here's dig through time for Seth Manfield. You were telling me Ray has essentially started his life as a full-time...
Yeah, he's got a full-time job at a hospital now. He just finished school, so he doesn't really have as much time to, put into Magic as he did last year. Last year he was, really, really pushing it. I remember in Dublin, I ran into him after the Pro Tour when he had just come in, I believe, 9th or 10th. Mm-hmm. And then the night after, like Saturday night before top 8, he was up until like 5 a.m. drafting on Magic Online in the lobby of the hotel. So here's somebody who's so driven. You know,
wow.
they will.
Dragon Lord Ojutai from Seth Manfield. It's not bad.
We've seen this from Seth a lot. I mean, yesterday he was able to defeat Craig Wesco in a game where he just, raced him with a Dragon Lord Ojutai while essentially like ignoring everything that Craig was trying to put together.
It's one of the angles that this Esper Dragons deck has that is not normal for control. It's like turn 5, play a Giant Flyer, tap out for a Giant Flyer. I mean, the fact that those Dragon Lords are just better than almost anything the opponent can do. I mean, it gets taken to the extreme in the 5-color blue Dragons deck, the Mike Flores special, where you're just like, I have 12 Dragon Lords, or 12 Dragons anyway, most of them are Dragon Lords. I'm just going to tap out all the time. I don't think you can do anything better than what I can do.
Ray might sacrifice another fetch land here, just look for something to put into play off that Courser. It's entirely possible. It's difficult to justify playing something like Sarkhan in this spot, but looks like that's what he's going to go ahead and do.
All right. Sarkhan attacks.
Yeah, so with that Sarkhan attack now, I mean, Seth just gets to eat the Sarkhan for free. But that means that Seth won't be using the Dragon Lord Ojutai to do something like Anticipate. And it really kind of forces Seth to have a card like Crux of Fate to clean up the ground, because now Ray really has the ability to kill Seth out of nowhere. And Seth, has to play as if there's some danger on the other end.
All right. Oh, wow, Foul Tongue. So Seth obliges Ray. Basically, Ray scripted Seth's turn. I want you to kill my Sarkhan. I'll sneak in 4 points of damage and make you tap your Dragon Lord.
Want might be a strong word. I don't really think Ray had much of an option
well,
there.
But I mean, he essentially puppeted Seth's turn. But now the question is, what was his follow-up? Well, I don't know if he was expecting 2 Foul Tongue indications. Ray now completely out of creatures. But Seth is tapped out.
The problem
was
with
Ray just desperately digging and hoping, or does he actually have a plan here?
It's interesting. I think, he could find something like Elspeth, take it down, actually deal with that Dragon Lord, and then have a big presence on the board. But he's going to need that. It's not a guarantee by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah, Ray did not draw any of the Death Mist Raptors or Den Protectors that are in his deck that really allow him to grind out a matchup like this. His Planeswalkers, I previously made the assumption that those were going to be very strong here because he's playing against, an Esper control strategy. But Dragon Lord Ojutai might just change that. I mean, having a giant hexproof flyer that can just one-shot Planeswalkers on the other side of the table, it really changes how these control decks get to approach opposing Planeswalkers.
I mean, a lot of people are used to going to those Planeswalkers as the recipe against control. They're a lot better against the sort of mostly creatureless decks, more like what Mark Herberholtz is running, than they are against the Esper Dragons. Well, here's Death Mist Raptor. Seems like it might be a little late for Death Mist Raptor this game, but Ray will do what he can.
Yeah, that's a card that ideally you want to come down on turn 2 off a Mystic or on turn 3 right away. That way, your opponent ends up being forced to deal with it because it's constantly dealing them damage, and then when they do so, you gain an incremental advantage every time you start flipping something up. Yeah, once you start connecting the Dragon Lord Ojutai and actually getting to use that Anticipate trigger, things get pretty out of hand.
Well, Bile Blight, kill it.
And normally, you're not thrilled to spend a removal spell on something like Death Mist Raptor, but when, that removal spell was just picked up off the top of your library for free,
yeah, it's fine.
It's absolutely fine. So Ray definitely does not want to draw this Mystic, so we're probably going to see him sacrifice the Wisp of Heat, at least before his next turn. He has a Lion in hand, but he may be waiting until he has an opportunity to cast that and go over the top all at once. But now with Seth casting Dig Through Time, it's looking like this game is slipping further and further away from Ray having any chance of victory. Seth already in the driver's seat now, just solidifying his role as the winner of this game.
Seth Manfield currently 6th in the Player of the Year race, 1 point behind Owen Turtenwald.
51 pro points?
51 pro points, so he's going to
Pro Tour
Worlds.
go. Oh,
He's
yeah.
going to Worlds. He's got, I can't imagine missing Worlds at 54 points. I mean, even at 51, I think he'd be fine for Worlds. Or maybe have to sweat a little bit. So he's got bigger goals than that. He's already locked up Platinum. He's already locked up Worlds effectively. But he's got a couple of 1-point Grand Prix finishes on his resume right now, and he wants to upgrade them. You know, a 12-3 would get him plus 2 points, turning that 1-point finish into a 3. Top 8 is really what he's questing after. Top 8, he could leapfrog Ari Lax as well, and potentially get himself into the top 3.
It's not outside the realm of possibility for Seth Manfield to end up Player of the Year.
Oh yeah,
when
yeah.
the
I mean,
dust settles.
it's going to be hard to do that off just Grand Prix finishes. I mean, honestly, Player of the Year is going to come down to which of those top, 6-ish guys spikes the Pro Tour.
Absolutely.
Like who puts up maybe a top 16, or I mean, if any of them top 8, they probably get Player of the Year. But I mean, it's pretty close at the top: 60, 57, 56, 54, 52, 51, 50. 49, 48. Nobody's really run away with it. Eric Froelich currently in first place in the Player of the Year, but only up 3 on Sam Black, only up 4 on Li Shitian. And yeah, this game is over. Seth Manfield takes the 1-0 lead over Ray Perez, trying to stay in top 8 contention. He's basically got to win the next 4 if he wants to make top 8, maybe the next 5.
Taking a look at the sideboard here for Raymond Perez, he has some pretty nice ones. Nissa Whirlwaker is actually, my favorite planeswalker against
again, though,
control
vulnerable
strategies.
to dragons.
Absolutely.
Vulnerable to dragons. I think Esper Dragons is just not nearly as vulnerable to planeswalkers as all the people sideboarding Nissa think it is. Meanwhile, how's the Brad Nelson match going over there? I think I saw them shuffling up for a game 2. Oh, is that a crash of rhinos in front of Brad Nelson?
Yeah, I think that is a crash of rhinos.
2 rhinos or 3 rhinos?
That may look like the body language of a losing player, but
No.
Brad tends to do that all the time. So
Yeah, exactly.
he's consistent. Post-board, Ray has some interesting stuff in his sideboard. Genesis Hydra, very good against these control decks.
All right, now
Two
you're
different
talking.
spells.
That one sounds
Mastery
pretty
the Unseen allows him to apply pressure from a lot of different angles. Dragonlord Tremoka, also quite good just because
Oh wow,
it
he
cannot be
does have some
countered.
tech.
And like I said, Nissa Worldwaker, I think, is the premier planeswalker against control decks because of its ability to fight from so many different angles. Like they have to be both halves of it because it makes
Right.
a 4/4 right away when it comes
Right.
down, and if they're not aggressively digging into removal spells, then they can find themselves just dead to it.
Yeah, I don't know. I understand the theory with Nissa, but we saw Mark Herberholz beat her last round, and he didn't even have dragons to attack her with. He's just like, Tasker will come with the ground. Eventually, I'll find a hero's downfall.
Wow, Mark's deck beat a Resolve Nissa?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, that's my point.
Yeah, I mean,
It was basically
buy it.
he had an Elspeth, but that loses in a fight to Nissa. But what he also had was a Tasker, and the 4/5 body's ability to block the 4/4s just meant Elspeth was able to take over the game.
I added Nissas to the sideboard of my Abzan deck last night when I played a match of Magic Online.
It
before
was
going
in
to bed.
fact 3 rhinos in front of Brad Nelson, but he's down a game. So this is game 2. It's Abzan Aggro versus Abzan Aggro. Apparently Abzan Aggro was the deck to play.
Yeah.
I believe there's 3 10-0 players left in the tournament, and here the 2 that got paired against each other are in pretty much a mirror. Gordo Tonner. So this is Alberto Canada. Oh, Abzan Megamorph. Okay. Not quite a mirror. Sounds like Gordo's got the Den Protector, Deathmist Raptor recursion package. Not quite as much dedication to the beatdown. Still, anyway, Alberto, Canada, certainly having a very good tournament. There's been a lot of the strong Canadians. And in the top 6, a lot of Canada's best and Brad Nelson.
Yes. Battling Sorens now.
All right.
And that's really important because that means that Brad can actually get in with these rhinos and,
Sure.
essentially kill the Soren on the other side of the table by attacking. If he attacks with all the rhinos, then, even if a Corsair blocks 1 and a rhino blocks 1, then the Soren is still going to die. So.
If he attacks the Soren.
Oh yeah, Gordo is at 12, so Brad may just.
Presumably Gordo has plus his Soren though, so I would assume Gordo has the ability to gain life with his block. Still, that's a lot of power on Brad Nelson's side of the board.
Yeah.
3 rhinos, a
gaining
Death
all
Dealer,
life,
and a
too.
Fleece Mane?
I think you just send with the rhinos.
And you're attacking Soren or Gordo?
I would attack Soren. I mean, he has a 5 power lifelinker.
Yeah, I like it. 3 rhinos at Soren.
Yeah.
Brad seems to agree with at least the 3 rhinos part. Yep, 3 rhinos at Soren.
Yeah. Crash.
And now, do you want to trade rhinos or just say no, Soren down?
Yeah, I think you just say Soren down. Brad pops himself up to 33 here.
Wingmate Rock's a good card.
The Wingmate Rock is quite good.
Here's Fleece Mane with the ability to Monster Sid, so immediately indestructible Fleece Mane line.
But, not that powerful because those are going to be 5/5 life linkers on the other side of the table.
Let's go back to our main match. Thoughtseize from Seth Manfield. Sees a hand from Ray Perez with Caryatid, Nissa, and a couple of Fleece Manes. Brad does not have white mana. I'm sorry, Ray does not have white mana except off the Caryatid, so man, I might take Sylvan Caryatid here. What about you?
Ooh, I mean, it's really hard to take a Sylvan Caryatid,
There's
right?
no white mana. What does that hand do? Also, it slows down Nissa.
Yeah, it's probably the pick. I probably just take Nissa.
I take Caryatid. He has no turn 2 play, no turn 3 play. Basically his hand doesn't do anything unless he draws.
Yeah, but
I mean, white mana off the
people do
top
top
undoes people sometimes top deck white mana. I understand. I still think,
I guess it depends on the contents of
shifts.
Seth's hands. Like if Seth can, if he has a Bile Blight or 2 Bile Blights, then he would be happy for Ray to just play out both those Fleece Manes, and then the problem with Nissa is that it makes it hard to tap out for something that's not Dragon Lord Ojutai, right?
Guess. This is 4 turns away. And that's assuming he does draw land. There you go. Caryatid. Do him dirty. Yeah, that was not white mana.
No, just another forest. So Ray here, not looking to be in great position, applying no pressure to this Esper
No, his
Dragon
hand's
stack.
terrible right now.
Yeah.
Like you would mulligan that hand, I'm pretty sure.
But
Yeah,
given the
maybe.
Caryatid, he pretty much has to keep it though, right?
Oh no, I mean now. If you had the current hand,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
2 Fleece Manes, no white mana. Okay. Caryatid, turn 3 Caryatid, setting up turn 4 Fleece Mane. I guess setting up turn 4 Nissa.
Yeah, and I mean, he might not go for the Nissa, but
So that's
now
going to
he's
tap
probably
3
gonna
mana.
go for the Nissa. Yeah, it seems aggressive for Seth to just cast an Ashiok here.
I mean, Ray's going to play something. You can't bluff. Oh, foul tongue invocation to kill Caryatid. Still no white mana for Ray Perez. Does come up with a Death Fist Raptor though.
It's not bad. I think you're short of Xenagos, Death Fist Raptor is really the best card he could have had there. find a land here.
Looks like Brad Nelson did hold on to that game too, that we saw him turn the corner in.
Yeah, when
3
he found
rhinos
that
got
Soren,
it done.
it just put things
Yeah.
way in his favor.
Yeah, the Soren seemed huge. They let those 3 rhinos just take over the game, kill the opposing Soren, and win from there. All right, turn 4 Xenagos came off the top of the deck for Ray.
Yeah, I mean, he would have liked to have had it the turn prior where he wouldn't be facing against. Yeah.
Oh, runs it into a counterspell.
And Silumgar Scorn, so good because in these early turns of the game, the Force Spike is essentially a counterspell anyway. And by the time you actually need it to be a counterspell, you've likely found one of your hexproof dragons. Ooh.
Scry to the top.
Scry to the top. It's so funny how, with a lot of decks, when they do that, it's just like, oh, okay, it's another card I have to use. But
Yeah.
when you're playing against Esper Dragons, when they do that, they're looking for very specific cards in a lot of situations, and when they have them, it's often very difficult to win. So. All right.
Ultimate Price takes down Deathness Raptor. 5th mana for Ray Perez, but it comes into play tapped, and it still doesn't make white.
Yeah.
Does scry to the top, though.
Not the ideal land there for Ray.
Now, finally, Nissa. And Ray's like, all right. No, I don't think Ray's surprised at this.
Oh, I highly doubt he'd be
all-
surprised, especially after Seth put the card on top. I mean,
Right.
Seth knew the Nissa was in Ray's hand.
All true. Now, is it Dragon Lord time yet? That looked like a dig through time.
Seems like it's time to dig.
Yep. How much is this going to cost me? 3 mana? This is a main phase dig through time.
Yeah.
Guess he's probably
For a
out of
land drop.
land and
Yeah.
might take one.
Card like Dragonlord Silumgar seems incredible against a deck like Ray's, where he doesn't really have the removal to deal with it, and he has all these planeswalkers.
True.
Card has declined in popularity a great deal, but people still have it. I can see Ray getting really hurt by that one.
Players in Sunday Super Series.
Seth Manfield. Now, again, just absolutely in the driver's seat here.
The scorekeeper at the side fence stage.
Okay, second Nissa.
Yeah, and I mean,
And that one resolves.
huh.
Or uses it to untap the forests. Really? What does that do?
It increases loyalty.
Yeah, there's Hero's Downfall.
I'm pretty surprised by that, actually. I think just making it 4/4 is pretty decent for first year punch.
Yeah, I'm also surprised.
Standard red box 27 to the gathering place.
All right, Gary added. Can I have white mana finally? All right. It's been 9 turns. I have a Dragon Lord. You can play your Fleecemane Lion now.
And now he has a Den Protector that can return a Deathless Raptor to play while also getting a Nissa back. But I don't even know if that's going to be good enough to race here.
Yeah, I know.
And he can also just Genesis Hydra for 4. It's not terrible. I think I saw that one. He drawn a couple turns back, so. This lane, Seth rather really wants to counter this card here because I mean that represents a lot of cards for Ray. It's a
Den
3/2
Protector.
on its own. Plus, it also is going to return this Death Mist Raptor. Plus,
Well,
it's also
it resolved.
going to return another card.
And there's the mana to flip it, so it's going to get the Eternal Witness regrowth effect, and it's going to get the Death Mist Raptor back.
We've been seeing a lot of value in these Den Protectors as of late. It's a card that flew under the radar a little bit when it was first previewed, but I
Agreed.
think
Yeah, it did.
a lot of people were pretty excited about it.
I feel like the evasion ability was completely missed.
Oh,
Everyone
yeah.
was like, oh, it's a 5-mana Eternal Witness. Maybe. But yeah, it comes up that it's tricky to block. All right, Crux of Fate is the play. Choosing non-dragons. So this is going to get the Caryatid. Still no white mana. Once again, Ray still going to have a couple stranded Fleece Mains. Den Protector.
Yeah, I think both those Fleece Mains were in his opening hand.
They
and
were.
they're still
Absolutely
in his
true.
hand
Yeah, they
here.
were there from the turn 1
like
Thoughtseize.
6. So
Turn 1 Thoughtseize, your Caryatid. And they've been there ever since. So the nice thing about this Crux of Fate from Seth's point of view is that the Den Protector, Megamorph, potential ability to get back the Death Mist Raptor doesn't actually help here.
yeah, the Death Mist Raptor
everything's
just
dying
died
anyway.
regardless. So
Ray chooses Nissa, and here's the Thoughtseize. So Genesis Hydra, the 2 Fleece Mains, and the Nissa.
yeah, you just take Genesis Hydra. I'm pretty sure.
I mean, this is not good news either.
Yeah, you can
Isn't
just attack it with your
it's
dragon,
Genesis
though.
Hydra for how many?
For 3. But you don't know what your
think
opponent could hit.
For 3?
I mean, it could be Banishing Light. Your Dragon Lord Ojuchai's tapped.
I think you take Nissa. And that seems to be what Seth did. Or you just draw Sarkhan off the top.
Oh, that's a very good draw
And
step
kill
there for
Dragon
Ray.
Lord Ojutai. Wow, that was a good draw step.
Ray actually doesn't even seem like he's in that bad of a spot here. I mean,
Not now. He was in a terrible spot last turn. He just drew Sarkhan off the
absolutely.
top.
But what I'm saying is that, like, all at once he was able to kind of.
Yeah, it's crazy how good Sarkhan was on exactly that board. I mean, it's both a threat that can attack and also kill Dragon Lord Ojutai. It's pretty crazy. Drifting Death does hold it off, but I think it's Drifting Death does more than hold it off. Drifting Death will kill it next turn.
Yeah. It's pretty nice.
Now what? Genesis Hydra for 3 or playing Elvish Mystic and pass?
Neither seems too exciting. Although Genesis Hydra for 3 could find you something like Death Mist Raptor, which then, could make a lot of your future top decks better.
Yeah, I mean, I think you Genesis Hydra for 3, just because what else are you going to do?
I would.
Roy, your event is waiting for you. Please, Roy, please report to the side events gathering area.
Or you can do nothing.
Roy.
Doesn't want to feed the Mystic to that Drifting Death. Yeah, Sarkhan killed 1 dragon, but dies to the second.
And he might just want to wait till he can cast the Hydra for 5. But I don't know if he has that much time.
No.
It's Silmgar's problem.
Oh, jeez. We'll just add Ugin to the board. Double the clock. Up, take 3. Suddenly, 2-turn clock for Seth Manfield.
And Ray has no way to pressure that Ugin.
You know what he does have, though? He has white mana. And you didn't want to
A little
thought
late
seize
for
the
that one.
Caryatid.
It's true.
I mean, it wasn't obviously this has worked out better for Seth than he could have expected, but I mean, you give yourself the ability to get lucky in this way.
Yeah,
Right? You just shift those percentages.
I think it also depends on what's in Seth's hand. Like if Seth has like a turn 5 Crux, I think that letting your opponent play Mana Guys is generally a winning strategy.
Yeah. Well, what he had was a couple of Faltong Invocations,
Yeah.
which I think makes
So
the Caryatid pull even easier. All right, there's a Fleece Mane. Seth does not care. Ugin.
Yeah.
Okay, he is going to kill it with Ugin.
you can just point at a card and turn a dice to kill the Fleeceman line at this point.
Yeah. Well, like from Ray's point of view, he played a healing salve. He gained 3 life there.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't get
All right, here's Genesis Hydra for 5.
Yeah, that's what he was hoping for, but
2, 3, 4, 5. Nothing. extends the hand. Seth Manfield still live for top 8. Ray Perez picks up that fatal third loss.
Yeah, Ray Perez, incredible run last year to make Rookie of the Year.
Hey, Ray's still live for pro points. I know that he wants 3 pro points from the GP circuit so that he doesn't have to do well at the Pro Tour in order to retain his silver status. So still live for pro points, but Seth still live for top 8.
Ray has been, a feature of the Magic Online scene for a long time, and his handle has always been Ray Future Pro.
Yeah.
So he's, it's pretty cool that he's making it happen to a certain degree.
Current pro. Now, what's going on here? Game 3 between 2 of our last 3 undefeated players. We saw Brad Nelson come back to win the last game. Here he's got Wingmate Rock attacking. He's got a Morph and a Death Dealer now. Gordo has that pile of cards in a graveyard?
Yeah, I think that pile of cards is in the
Okay, so
graveyard.
he's got
the
presumably a
Fleeceman Lion.
monstrous Fleeceman Lion?
Yes, which also probably has 2 possible soul counters from Absent Charm.
That makes sense.
So with Brad at 6, it's a 6/6 indestructible Hexproof, which is a good card.
Which is the Abyss. Brad Nelson will be sacrificing a creature every turn.
But Wingmate Rock's going to gain Brad some life back, and then it gives him a little bit of breathing room.
Take a hit. Looks like there's an Abzan Charm in Brad's hand too. Yeah, 2 attacks. So yeah, Wingmate Rock in the air, and that's not a normal Abzan aggro card. That's BBD tech.
Yeah.
Brian Braun-Duin put a couple of Wingmate Rocks sitting on the top of the curve in this Abzan deck. Not something I think Brad's opponents may have expected from him.
But Gordo also has
Does he?
access to Wingmate Rock. Yeah, I think
Wow.
a lot of so it seems that the most successful Absent decks from this weekend
That's
found that
interesting.
card. I think last game when we tuned in to check it out. Yeah, 2 main deck.
Wow.
For Gordo.
All right, flip Den Protector. Go get Sorin.
Yeah, these 2 decks are very similar.
Play Sorin. Plus Sorin. Attack. Now, what does Brad have? Presumably that's a Den Protector of his own?
Yes.
He's going to chump block the Fleeceman's Lion
Deck.
and flip his Den Protector. What's he got to get back? Looks like there's an Anafenza, there's a Siege Rhino. He's going to go Death Dealer, potentially have a regenerating blocker for that indestructible
That seems like a reasonable choice.
And yeah, this is going to be a removal spell on the Den Protector. Yeah, Abzan Charm. Brad's MVP so far. Go away.
We have the GP Pittsburgh preview. That's a modern event.
The 7 life from the life-licking Fleeceman Lion, though, is a big deal.
We have the intro pack tracks.
I mean, Brad can no longer race.
Intro pack.
I mean, he can kill Sorin,
as well.
Yeah,
but
he's going to just kill Sorin and then play a Regenerator.
I guess kill Sorin, play Regenerator. He's got this board. He's now stable and ahead on board.
Yeah. Still not completely safe though.
Oh, certainly not. Gordo had 1 card in his hand and drew another. It's like, ooh, self-inflicted wound. Down goes Wingmate Rock token. Wow.
Ooh, that's a really nice Den Protector there. And then I'll be able to return self-inflicted wound. Yeah, it seems like Gordo has established a pretty strong lead here, especially with that Den Protector.
Well, last turn it looked like Brad was in the lead, so let's see if Brad's got any answers. Certainly, I agree with you. Den Protector to be both a creature and also a self-inflicted wound, which presumably will get the Wingmate Rock. Suddenly Gordo's ahead. Yeah, Brad won't be in a position to take a Fleeceman Lion hit again either.
Yeah, he essentially has 2 lands down for the remainder of the game to block with this Death Dealer. And Gordo now, we also have to remember that the Den Protector is
Hard to block.
very hard to block. I believe Brad does have Anafenza in his hand,
And I can block it.
but I mean, that's also likely just going to be sacrificed to self-inflicted.
Over the Wingmate?
I think so. I think Wingmate's also gaining Brad life every turn. The fact that it flies makes it, a good source of pressure.
I just feel like having a blocker for a 3/2 Den Protector is important on this board. You're at 8. Your opponent has a 6/6 that you're obliged to block every turn. And even regenerating Rakshasa is going to cost Brad a point here.
Pascal from Lequenstead, please report to your
That's a tricky spot.
Gathering plays. Pascal from Lequenstead.
Gordo reads his morph. And then, yeah, it is a Den Protector. He did not get the self-inflicted wound, he got the Obzon Charm? Got the Obzon
He got
Charm.
Obzon Charm. So,
Yeah, clear your potential regenerator, right? Ooh,
draw some cards.
wow. Apparently
Interesting.
did not like his position. Wanted 2 cards, willing to pay 2 life for it.
Pretty surprised by that, actually. It seems like he... Can you find anything off that?
I found Hero's Downfall, I believe.
It's not bad. Of course, I'm not sure it would have been as good as a self-inflicted wound,
Right.
or
Agreed.
even just exiling one of the creatures. And no attack there. Interesting.
Downfall's the Wingmate Rock.
Okay.
Fleece main for Brad, which he can immediately monstrous.
Yeah, and I imagine he's just going to go ahead and do so.
That's not capable of blocking. He didn't tap enough mana, did he?
Yeah. Okay. He played the Fleece Main for free and then monstrous it.
Siege Rhino, jeez.
It's a good one off the top there for Gordo.
Now we basically have a stalemated ground.
Yeah, the Death Dealer.
Both players have an indestructible Fleece Mane Lion. Brad's down to 4. Draw self-inflicted wound off the top, so down goes the Den Protector. And neither player's really in a position to attack, but Brad's the one who's at 4. Wow, Den Protector. Off the top.
Oh,
So good.
so good. The best draw set possible, even.
Yeah, Brad with his head in his hands. This is going to be a tough one.
Making it through 10 rounds undefeated, no easy feat. Even the mightiest of planeswalkers fall eventually.
You're not predicting Gordo Tanner to go 18-0 here?
Hey, it's definitely possible. It's a pretty impressive feat to go 18-0 at a GP. I don't think it's ever been done. Little draw. Right, so at this point, I mean, Gordo can just use the Den Protector, flip it up, find another removal spell. Just gonna pass the turn here.
Scryland off the top for Brad. Yeah, both players have been playing pretty much off the top of their deck for a couple of turns now. I mean, Brad stabilized the board where he was kind of behind. Chump blocking. Did a pretty good job of stabilizing, but Gordo's now on the second Den Protector of the last couple of turns. And he continues to draw cards with Obzon Charm.
And now Brad's in a really rough position because regardless of the blocks that he decides to make here, he can't make the best blocks possible because of how low his life total is. He's going to be forced to chump something with Anafenza. Definitely not where you want to be. It's the inoffensive even.
You know,
You know,
yeah, here's Hero's
it's gonna be
downfall.
there.
Attack, attack, attack.
Yeah, so
This
that's
is-
the block there and there.
Yeah.
Falls to
He's
one.
got a.
Double pumps his Death Dealer.
Does he have enough pain-free mana to even pull this off?
I think so.
He's taking
He has
3 from the
Urborg.
Den Protector. Oh, he has Urborg. This should be
Yeah.
enough. Missed the Urborg. All right, so Den Protector double pump. It's big enough to kill the Siege Rhino, but Brad falls to 1 from the unblocked Den Protector. Now here is a Fleece main, so 3 attackers to 2 blockers. Brad must draw
He's got a good one on top.
something. Ooh, is that Warden of the First Tree?
That is Warden of the First Tree, and that's
1,
tremendously
2,
strong
3,
here,
4,
especially
5,
with the
6,
Urborg on the
7
table.
mana. So he can double pump it and get to lifelink.
Yeah, Gordo.
Now he doesn't have. If he double pumps, it gets to lifelink though. He's what? He has to chump block something. So
Yeah.
this is still a tricky spot. Like that,
Well, he
it's a
can
good
trade
draw,
with,
but he's not going to be able to build up a giant warden. Is my point. I thought for a minute maybe he could get the lifelink, which would be kind of awesome, and then potentially even get to the third ability to go ultimate on the warden. But if Gordo
yeah.
turns them all sideways, Brad can't keep his creatures alive on a block. Yeah, and Gordo sees it. He's got to force Brad's blocks here, and I think all Brad's going to be able to do is trade the Warden for either the Den Protector or the Fleece Main. I mean, that Fleece Main can go monstrous.
Yeah, the Fleece Main, it's not
Doesn't
gonna
he
trade with
need,
that.
like, I think... Oh, maybe he's just going to chump with Warden?
And this is an ideal block for Brad because, you know,
Yeah, he's going to have to spend mana on the Death Dealer. All right, so Death Dealer goes to 4/4. Fleece Main's going to go monstrous in order to survive, and Warden is going to die.
So that mana for Confluence, we tap for black without dealing Brad any damage.
Yep.
Thanks to Urborg.
So now it's a pair of monstrous Fleece Mains for Gordo versus a Rakshasa and a Fleece Main for Brad. So we're back to stable. I mean, Brad's Warden top deck kept him alive, traded. I mean, it was good enough to keep him in the game, but now he's at 1, and they're in top deck mode. Land, land. There's an Abzan Charm in Brad's hand. Now a second Death Dealer.
Yeah, but it looks like we've got a big one coming from Gordo this turn.
Yeah?
I think Wingmate Rock off the top.
Oh my.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
saw
here's an
Strong
attack
Nose
with an
already,
indestructible creature just to trigger the raid on Wingmate. Brad kills half of it. Can he draw an answer to the other half? No!
and that's it.
Gordo Tonner goes to 11-0. Very happy about that. Survived the top deck battle against Brad Nelson.
Yeah, it was a pretty interesting game there.
Yeah.